So let's get one thing straight. Most agencies in this space are super exploitative and they just want to make as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time as possible with little to zero regard to you as the model or whatever happens to your account after they've already milked it and burned it to the ground.
You're burning my half. All you care about is money.
So if you're in talks with some agencies and you're considering jumping ship, don't make the decision before watching this video. I'll point out all the red flags you should watch out for when you're talking to these agencies, so you can better judge for yourself if they're a good chatting agency or a very bad and exploitative. So now I'm gonna talk about the red flags that you should watch out for. The first red flag that usually appears within the first few minutes of conversation is how they actually handle the subscribers. Do they even talk about a clear chatting system that works for them? Can they explain how they sell their PPVs? Can they explain how they talk to their fans? Do they even have an SOP that they're training their chatters on? These are all very important questions that you, as the model, have to ask them before even getting in talks with them to take over your account. If they don't have these systems in place, that means that they're improvising, relying on luck, or they have a chatting system that is designed to make the most amount of money possible in the least amount of time possible. So they can, as I said in the beginning, burn your account. The second red flag that you should watch out for is the way that they talk about traffic. Most agencies only really care about the quantity of traffic coming in. They don't really care about expanding on the fans that you already have or on a connection that's already been established with them. They only care about how many subs you're bringing in a day because they, as I said, want to crash and burn your account with low-priced mass message PPVs that go out like 3 to 5 times per day. This is the current meta of OFM. Get a big girl, send out a lot of low-priced mass message PPVs, have subpar chatters that they don't really talk with fans, and just send a buttload of PPVs. Meta meaning the current most efficient game plan. The third red flag that you should watch out for is if they don't have any standardized operating procedures or SOPs. Because if they don't have them, that means they have no structure. Good agencies have training, scripts, systems, quality control, a corporate-like structure to the firm, and have standardized contracts. Bad agencies have super random chatters that they just hire with no prior training and hope for good results because they can get away with paying them very little. And what's the most important, they try to sign you as soon as possible, even on the first call, before you catch on what they're trying to do. The fourth and the easiest red flag to spot is the way that they're underpricing your content. They have no backbone when it comes to pricing, and they cut any price in half as soon as an objection comes out because they themselves see no value in your content, and they're pricing it as low as they can just to sell it. And why would you even want to sign with an agency that doesn't value your hard work? You want to work with an agency that prices your stuff at $200, $500, $1,000, $10,000. Not pennies on the dime because they say that the fan is a time waster. The fifth red flag is a little bit harder to spot, but once I explain it, it's going to be easier for you guys to understand. And that's having no ownership or accountability when it comes to your chats. Now, what do I mean by that? If they constantly blame you, the model, for not doing or providing any kind of content, they're blaming the traffic, or they're blaming the fans that you worked so hard to bring them to the account, then that just means that they have no ownership of whatever they do and that they're bad salesmen. They should be focusing on actually fixing the system and not blaming you, the model, or the Instagram algorithm, or whatever ways you choose to bring in traffic, for their lack of competence and for their lack of ownership. They should at least try to improve the processes or assure you that they will. If they're not doing any of that, then there's no point in signing with salesmen who can't sell anything. And the sixth red flag, which has unfortunately become the norm for OFM as a whole, is the robotic and copy-paste scripting sort of chatting. Let's say you open 10 chats on the account that they're handling. They're showing you chats, they're like, saying, oh my God, this spender spent like $2,000 in this one sitting, and all that you can see are the same messages sent to every fan in the same manner, in the same sequence, then yeah, they're just using copy paste lines. They don't really work long term because there's no authenticity. The model appears like they try to make you as the model appear to be soulless, to be run by an AI. We call this style of chatting the Filipino chatting way. And it's very bad because fans cannot get emotionally attached to the model if the model is exhibiting robot-like behaviors. They're used to talking to language models like ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, and they know how robotic looks and feels like. And what's the worst part about it, this style of chatting, the Filipino chatting way, they actually do use ChatGPT to answer some of their messages, which is insane to me. And they just make no value from the actual conversations that they have with fans. So not only will they just sell everything for cheap, they're not gonna be interesting. They're not gonna be feminine. They're not gonna be bubbly. They're not gonna represent you in any way, shape, or form as the model. They're just there to get money, just like a cashier would at a Target. They're not this charming salesman that they represent on a call. Now, what good agencies actually do is they have written SOPs, as I said, standardized operating procedures. They have structured training that they provide to every single chatter that joins their agency, no matter if they have experience or not. They build connections before selling, or if a sub comes in super hot and wants to buy something, they make it a big deal that the model is gonna send this intimate thing to a random stranger. But what's the most important is that they sell the entire experience, not just the content. Because let's face it, if a guy wants to see boobs, he can just go on Google and literally Google boobs. He wants to see your boobs. And if he's just getting it easy for 20 bucks, he's not gonna value it that much. But if he actually has a conversation with you, emotionally engages with you in a way that you, as the model, would emotionally engage with them if you were the one chatting, then yeah, he's definitely gonna spend a lot more because he wants to hang out with you. That's what OnlyFans is all about. Connections, not content. And some of these agencies, they just don't get that. So the difference between your current chatting situation and the peak of what your account can be is not how people perceive you on social media or how big your following is. No, it's what happens inside of the chat, and it's how sales are being handled. Chatting is the most important part of an account, and it cannot be undermined. Now, this doesn't mean that every agency out there is bad. There are agencies like ours who actually try to maximize the model's potential, and they actually see real value in a long-term partnership. And they're not looking for a short-term solution to a problem that can be handled better over time. If you have any dilemma with what you want from an agency, or if you want an agency at all, you can hit me up in any of the links down below, and we can book a free call where I'm just going to give you pointers on what to look at, and I give you some advice whether you even need an agency at all, depending on your goals. So as usual, thank you for watching. Again, reach out to me in any of the links down below.